Hey everyone, it's Emily. Welcome to Mama from Scratch. Today I am finally sharing with you some Christmas DIYs. I am so excited. Normally I start sharing these at the beginning of October and well, I was busy doing other things and now we are going to be focusing on Christmas content and I'm so excited. I hope you guys are too. These DIYs are super affordable. Almost everything is $1 and I think they turned out so good. You can customize them to any coloring that you like, any pattern, and I have a really fun project at the very end for you guys, but we're going to be focusing on Christmas ornaments and Christmas trees for today's Christmas DIY video. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to be getting the look for less. And I'm just so excited. I hope you guys are too. Give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and let's go ahead and get started. The first set of ornaments that we're going to be making are just beautiful. They're not complicated at all. So I picked up this white set at the Dollar Tree. You can pick up whatever color ornaments you want, and this will work for any of them. But I found these jeweled stickers in the Crafter Square area, and they are so pretty. And they have more of a rust color on the one, and then the other set is black. And so I just basically alternated the colors, and then I used the smaller teardrop ones to place in between. And it's just so pretty that you can dress up any ornament with this, and they have different colors of these stickers as well. So pick your preference and decorate however you like. The actual medallion in the middle is one set, so you could put that on one ornament in the front if you wanted to. Look how beautiful this DIY ornament turned out, and it was only $1. This next set of ornaments I think are really pretty. They have more of like a pine cone effect to them, but I wanted to make them look a little bit more metallic. So I grabbed some of my metallic spray paint out of the garage and I sprayed one down, and then the other one I decided to take off the top greenery, and then I had to glue on some of the little pine cone pieces, which wasn't a big deal, and then I ended up removing the greenery and just adding the hanger in the middle with some hot glue. And you could add the pine cone on there. I did not. And then I took black paint and I decided to just brush that on, not saturated completely, but also not dry brushing it. I wanted it to have a little bit of see-through in it so you could still see like the pine cone shape of it. And then once I had that done, I took some of this metallic gold paint that I've had for years. I don't have a label on it, so I can't tell you the name of it, but it was found at Walmart, and I just highlighted all over the black area, and I thought it turned out pretty good. But here's an up-close look at both of them, and these go for about $6 at Kirkland's, and I was able to create them each for $1. The set of 2 ornaments for $1 is really a great price. I really originally wanted clear ones, but they didn't have any, so I went ahead and took that metallic gold paint and I just brushed it around the ornament, and it highlighted it so pretty. Now if you have a clear ornament, you can put the paint on the inside and roll it around, and then that will let it dry, and then you can paint the outside of it as well. And I think it just turned out so pretty. It's so simple, but yet you get a totally different looking ornament that looks high-end. It looks like it's glass, but it's not. Both these packs were $1, and the pearls are usually where the wreath holders are in the non-seasonal decor. So I found those and I thought they'd be pretty to add ornaments and things, and so you can get so many ornaments for just $2. And I thought it really spruces up the snowflake having it. You can change the color to whatever you like, but I think it's really beautiful. I'm going to be using the Arteza gold paint pen, but you can use whatever color paint pen that you want. You could even use a Sharpie for this, depending on what coloring you're going for. But I just went around in a circle. I couldn't get the best way to turn it. I kind of needed it to just roll so to be a little bit easier and didn't look so shaky. But in the end, I think it turned out really good compared to the Kirkland ornaments that are around $5 or $6. And this was only 50 cents because I had the paint pen. So work with what you got, customize the color to your liking, but it looks so good and it's a great high-end dupe. Now we're going to start making our DIY Christmas trees. I got this board for free because it had holes in it at Lowe's, and it was over by the cutting area, and they always have scraps in it. So I picked this up, I drew a triangle on it, and now I'm going to use my table saw to cut it down. You can have the hardware store cut it for you. They probably won't do the actual triangle shape, but you can borrow a tool. You can use a jigsaw for that. You can use your table saw, a miter saw, whatever you have on hand. Use it. I am so excited to work on this because it was free, and I love you being able to reuse and repurpose something that maybe would have been trash otherwise. So I'm using my jigsaw to just cut down the triangle shape. Did I do a perfect job? Absolutely not. I had to kind of recut a few areas, but that's okay. It'll look really good in the end. Just watch. From that scrap piece, I cut a smaller piece to be the bottom of the tree, and then I just used my nailer to nail that together. You can use wood glue and just clamp it and hold it if you don't have any nails. And then I went ahead and took some 220 grit sandpaper and sanded down all the edges so that there'd be no splinters on this. And you could leave this raw wood if you wanted to. You could also stain it. I was planning on actually just staining these, but I found something else I could use for it, so I'll show you that in a minute. And then those side angles that we cut off for our triangle, I used those scraps to make 2 extra trees. They're not perfect, but I thought, why not use them? They're so cute. So I ended up finding this near the checkout at Dollar Store, and I am so glad I picked it up. It's just a beanie. They have all sorts of colors that you can choose from, so I decided to just kind of cut a small little piece out of it to cover our first tree, and then I just went kind of crazy and I did all the trees. So just keep on watching so you don't miss out on how I can take one beanie and use it for 3 different trees. So I used the hot glue and I made sure to stretch that material as best I could, make it nice and taut, and then I would kind of place it down into the middle area, and you can cut off the excess, not a big deal. And if you happen to be short like I am here, because I wasn't planning on covering the back, you can just snip off a little extra and cover that up. But wait till you see how cute these look in the end. So for the bigger tree, I decided to take the leftover part of the beanie. I actually covered the other tall tree with a vertical pattern of the beanie, and this one I decided to take the 2 leftover scraps and kind of make it twist around the tree, and it just turned out so good. So I'm just piecing this together and kind of draping it down at an angle, and it turns out so cute. So it's amazing what you can do with just a little bit of material and some free wood, and you can get such cute decor that would normally go for about $10 or $15 at the store for each tree. In the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree, they have these wood little stickers, and it's perfect. They have ornaments and everything, and I thought, how cute would it be to add snowflakes to this? And this is how the set turned out. I think this is so cute. I think it's my favorite project of the day. sticking with scrap pieces of wood, I took this piece and I just made one cut on it to make a triangle to get another tree. And so I decided to go a little bit wider with this one. And then for the base of it, I took the leftover wood and I just notched it out with a table saw because I don't have a router. And that way I could squeeze the tree into the middle of it. In the end, you could just sandwich the two pieces on each side of it. And I sanded it down like we did the other trees. That way it would be nice and smooth, and it's double-sided now. So I have one side wood and the other side we're going to use some craft paper, or even better, wrapping paper. So I decided to take this really cute tree wrapping paper I found at Walmart last year, and Santa actually brought that. And I decided just to cut out the pattern of it, and then I go in with some Mod Podge, and you're gonna want to spread this out nice and evenly and cover the entire surface of the tree. And then something I did not do, but something that will help get wrinkles out, and so you don't get wrinkles in your paper, is to actually get the paper slightly wet. Spray it down a little bit, that way you don't get the wrinkles that I did. I always forget this step, so try to remember if you can do that. And you can see how there's a little bit excess on the bottom. I just ended up cutting that off and making sure all the sides were sealed. And it's just an easy tree. And Walmart actually carries similar trees like this. They're a little bit taller, so you can do whatever shape and size you want. But this was basically free because I had everything on hand, and I think it turned out so cute. So for the next Look for Less, we are going to be working with the nutcrackers. I've been trying to find these for years, and I finally got my hands on some at Dollar Tree, and I decided to remove the hair on him, and he gets a totally different look by removing his little wig from him. It took a little bit of muscle, but we got it all off and cut it, and we are gonna just transform him by spray painting him. We're gonna give him a high-end look for $1. I had some matte black spray paint. I went ahead and did a thin coat up and down, a couple different angles, how you get all those little grooves and everything. And this is how he turned out, and he is a fraction of the cost that you would find at Crate and Barrel. Love that dupe. I basically did the same thing for the bottle brush tree, and I sprayed it with the metallic spray paint we used in the beginning, and it turned out really good. So now we're going to make another ornament. Dollar Tree came out with a lot of really cute ornaments this year, and these are all wood, so you can leave them raw wood or you can paint them. I took some thin ribbon that I had, added a piece of tape on the end, that way I could basically funnel it through each of the little slots in it, and I basically like sewing it, and I'm just weaving it in and out of the slots, and I'm gonna do that for the entire top. And then when I get to the end, I'm just gonna glue it down and then glue on a little hanger for it, and then cut off the excess. And then I could leave it like this, but I thought it'd be fun to dress up the bottom with a different color. This ribbon is a little bit too thick. I've had this for years from Hobby Lobby, and all I did was cut it in half, and I cut about a foot or so of ribbon, and I'm just going to weave it through as if I'm sewing it with a needle. And it's super simple. I went all the way down to the other end, and it turned out so cute. But this is one of those ornaments, again, that you can completely customize to your color scheme. What color scheme are you doing this year for Christmas?
This is a scrap piece of wood that I'm going to use for the base of the tree. I'm going to be using this 1x2 to allow the branches to fan out. We're going to cut that down. This is a 2x2. You could also use a wooden dowel that's round. I'm totally fine using this. And then we have our sheet of plywood here that I'm going to cut down into strips.
Christmas lights are all around. I can see them now. It's like they spell your name. It's insane. Now we're back here once again.
Saw to about 1.5 inches wide, and I ended up cutting that at a couple different sizes. I didn't keep it the same every time I cut it, and so I just made a couple strips out of this piece of thin plywood.
It's going down on Christmas Day. 'Cause I've been trying to tell you in every way. Yeah, I've been trying to show you, but somehow felt I wanna have someone to hold. Walking through the falling snow. I've been trying to tell you in every way, but now
So I cut down the entire 2 foot of the board, and I cut it in 2 inch, 1.5 inch, a quarter, and then an inch in width for the boards. Then I just stacked them together, make sure they were flush on the end, and then I just used my miter saw and cut those down about 9 inches in length, and then I did a couple at 8 inches and a couple at 7 inches.
I'll be making.
And then I took my miter saw and I tilted it at a 45-degree angle, that way I could get a certain cut on it. And the base of the tree, instead of having the limbs basically sit flat, by cutting the 1x2 at a 45 miter, basically, that would allow me to put that nail it on to the board, but see how it sticks out, and then that would allow all the branches to fan out and look like a normal tree. So I ended up cutting a few of them at 15 degrees, 30 degrees, and 45 degrees, but you can do whatever you like. For the base of the tree, I just took my baseboard here and I put a couple screws in the bottom, just 2, and then I centered that the best I could, and then screwed those into the 2x2. Now that I clamped down the tree, which wasn't necessary yet, but something you'll want to do, is I just took my nailer and I used about 1 inch worth of nails on this in length, and I just nailed it down, and see how you can see how it's at an angle. So I ended up putting a few of these on, and then I would go back and put the actual branches on. You can work each section at a time, or you can do it all together, but I do recommend working one level at a time. Don't get too far ahead because it'll be hard to nail your branches in. Now I'm angling each of the branches away from each other just a little bit, and you can stack them on the bottom and the top of those little 1x2s that we're nailing in first. You could also cut your branches wider, so instead of doing 1.5 inch or 2 inch, you could do 3 or 4 inch, and you could just do a wider chunk looking tree if you wanted to. I kind of learn as I go with some of these projects that I make, and so in the end I was like, I should have done wider ones, but you get a completely different looking tree if you do a wider one too. So it's kind of fun, and I love how rustic this is looking already. I do recommend when you build this type of tree is to keep the limbs closer together. As I went up, I kind of started separating the limbs, and you could see through it a little bit too much for my liking anyways. So I went back and kind of added a few more and adjusted as I went. When I got towards the top here, I started using the 45-degree angles because that was at a sharper decline, and that way the tree would kind of fall down and the branches would be a little bit narrower. So the 15-degree is what I started with, then I went to 30, and then I'm using 45, and I'm using them flat side down as well. You can do it both directions because I didn't want as much length outward as I did downward position, if that makes sense. I also used slightly shorter branches on the top as well to make the tree end. This is how it turned out. I just have to decide on a color, but it's 7 feet tall and it cost me $15. Piece of plywood is from the first set of plywood. It was basically a 4x8 and I cut it down in half so I get 2 different strips out of it. And so I'm marking it in half now, and we are going to cut this down and then we're going to make 2 triangles out of it. Then I just took a scrap piece of wood and lined that up in the center of each of the boards and made the triangle like I said, and then you can end up using the scrap pieces of this later on, which is what I ended up doing for that small little tree that we had, and you can make more trees out of this. I ended up making another style tree and I didn't like the way it turned out, so I'm not showing that to you. But I'm just trying to get the best angle. You can cut this with a jigsaw as well. So here I'm just marking down the middle on both of the boards because I'm going to make a cut in the top part of the board and the bottom part of another board, but I'm not going all the way through. See how I'm stopping halfway through? Is stack the boards on top of each other. So this was with one pass through of the blade. I needed to do another one to make it slightly wider of the cut, and we're just going to basically slide those on to each other, and you have a Christmas tree. It can stand on its own like this, or you can use a wooden dowel to put on the back of it. I ended up using a 2x2 and sandwiching it together to give it basically an extra height in the tree. As you can see here, I'm just nailing it on, and then you can add the base to the tree just like we did prior to the other one, and you have a cute Christmas tree. So something I wanted to try was cutting down the middle of a 2x2 because I don't have a router. It would have worked better to have a router for this, but I decided to do 2 passes, just a blade worth on each pass so it would fit the thin plywood that I was using. And I then flipped the board over, and then I would cut opposite, so I'd be basically making a 4 squares in it, but I'm not going all the way down. I was really nervous about this, and it worked out pretty well. It just doesn't look aesthetically pleasing as I would like it to, but you can see how it fits in. And then I took those scrap pieces from the board that we cut earlier, and I go ahead and sandwiched those in. Again, if this had been a router, I would have just notched each of these in, and then I wouldn't have had to really nail them so much. But I ended up adding a little bit of wood glue, nailing them in on each side, and then I got an extra tree out of the scraps. The Christmas tree I think turned out really good, but I cannot decide on the color for it. I feel like I should just leave it raw wood, but that's kind of boring. And I was like, well, maybe I should stain it like a darker brown color and then dust the tips with white paint so it looks like it's been snowed on or something. But then part of me is like, maybe I should just do it one solid color, but probably not green. So I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I can even add some glitter to the tips of it so they kind of sparkle a little bit. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think on that. But I hope you will enjoy these easy Christmas DIYs. You'll have to let me know which one was your favorite and which ones you would like to recreate to decorate your home on a budget. If you happen to miss my last few videos, they'll be linked in the description box below so you can get more ideas. And with that, I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you so much for spending part of it with me. If you would, give this video a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and I'll see you soon for more Christmas DIYs and decorating videos.
Holding hands to keep each other warm while we stand and watch a choir performing all the Christmas songs that we love. Yeah, all the Christmas songs that we love.